Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alain Chalabarde, and I'm originally from Spain, from Bilbao, but I moved around a lot. I was raised in South Africa and kind of lived in New York, London. Now I'm based in Austria, and I work as a game designer, but I have a big background in film. Yeah, I designed board games, I designed mobile games, and I also taught film. And I even published the film textbook, which is well, the title kind of says it all. I tried to make a very interactive book. So I tried to apply some of my philosophies on gamification in this book. So in this talk, I'm going to be talking about how, well, gamification basically is how to use games to teach things. And the funny thing about tutorials is that it's how to teach how to use the game. So it's kind of like Inception, or in this case, Gameception. So it's like the ultimate gamification experience. Now, during this talk, when I mention player, I mean student. And when I mention game, I mean lesson. So I'm going to be using one and the other, but they really mean the same thing. Because the same techniques that we use in tutorials are the ones that you should use as a teacher in any environment. So I'm sure you've all played bad tutorials. If you play games, anybody? Because, usually they have these things in common. A lot of arrows, a lot of characters telling you, like, have a paragraph of whatever you have to do. The reason they're bad is the same reason why lessons are bad. They just tell you what to do and that's it. Like, there's no interactivity. You don't let the players or the students make their own decisions. But I'm sure you've played good tutorials, at least I have. And in fact, there's a few examples that I'll be using during this presentation. Very good games that you'll see later. And the good thing is about tutorials, same as classes, is that it just tells you to play. It almost doesn't feel like it's a lesson, or it almost doesn't feel like it's a tutorial. It's invisible. I kind of resumed it into like 3 major goals when designing a tutorial, which kind of applies to designing a classroom as well, or a lesson. And I narrowed it down to excite, explain, and explore. And I will go through each one of them slowly, and I'll give a few tips on how to accomplish each one of these steps. So the first one, excite. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Now, I think the problem a lot of times with teachers who use gamification is they kind of just go over this one like, oh, well, it's a game, so it's going to be fun. Not really, because there are games that are not fun. So there could be classes that are not fun. So just because it's a game doesn't mean it's fun. So this is one thing that we have to keep in mind, and there are ways to achieve this. So the 3 major tools that you can use to accomplish excitement in the classroom as well as in the tutorial is, first of all, set a goal. And by goal I mean one goal, because you're going to have a lot of goals throughout the lesson, and you're going to have a lot of goals throughout the game. But there's got to be one major thing. What's the point of this? Why am I learning this? Why am I playing this game? Am I trying to save the princess? Am I trying to save the world? What am I doing? So that has to be clear from the beginning. Now, in open world games, it might not be something that the designer tells them explicitly, like, okay, save the princess, but you must allow for that to happen. So if you're playing SimCity, I'm going to build a touristic town or something. So you let the player make their own principal goal. The second thing is give them a role. So there are various ways of giving players roles. The easiest way, or the most effective way, they use, for example, in RPGs, which is just create your character from the beginning. By the time you're done building your character, you're really attached to that character, and you're not going to just say, oh, I'm done, I'm not going to play with this character, because this character is you. You invested a lot of time on this, and you feel connected to that character. And this can be used in the classroom as well. Like, what's my role in this lesson? Who could I be? If you're teaching history, could I be one of the characters in this history lesson? Another way is, of course, teams. So, for example, like in Pokemon Go, we were discussing the other day, you choose a team from the beginning, and you kind of feel committed to the game because you already joined the team. And that team has a personality which matches yours. So you feel like you're part of it. You're not just an spectator where you're just watching what's happening. You're not watching a movie, you're actually participating. And the third thing is show what's fun. Again, this is something that's skipped over because it's like, it's gamification, it's fun. No, because some things are not that fun. So every game has something that's really, really fun. That's the major thing about the game. And you have to show it really early. And same with the class. You're teaching a subject, try to find what's the most exciting thing about that subject and show it early so that you can grab students' attention from the beginning. Now, as an example, I will use Fallout 3. Anybody play Fallout 3? Yeah? Okay, good. At least some people played it. So the beginning of Fallout 3, I mean, you don't need to play it, but it's a very good invisible tutorial, sort of. So you begin as a baby and you kind of grow up. So it sets a goal from the beginning. Very early on, you meet your dad, and your dad kind of guides you a little bit. And very soon, your dad disappears. And the whole point of the game is find your father. What happened to him? Where did he go? Why did he leave? Now, of course, there's like 1,000 other goals during the game, but the main goal is, where's my father? And that's very, very clear from the beginning. The second thing is give them a role. Well, like I said, like RPGs, in Fallout, you create your character. You create what they look like, what kind of personality traits they have. You feel very, very attached to your character because it's your character, literally. Somebody didn't design it for you. You designed it yourself. And the third thing is show what's fun. So the most fun things about Fallout, what Fallout is known for, is talking to people and shooting them in the face. So those are the two major things that are fun about the game. So very early on, you get to experience the dialogue and how you can choose to be an asswipe or be a nice guy, or you can choose how you want to play the game. And the first present you get from your dad on your birthday is a gun, because America, So, so you get a gun and you get to shoot some cockroaches, and it's like, well, this is pretty cool. And then later on, you get to shoot people. Awesome, great. So you show what's fun really, really early on. So explain. If you're explaining, you're losing. Now, the thing about explanation is that, it should be very invisible. And it's hard to make it invisible because it has to be clear, but it has to be there. So the tools you can do is, first of all, do, don't tell. So this is tricky. I took it we take it usually in film. In film, we usually say show, don't tell. So don't have a character say something, just let the viewer see it. So if a character loves another character, let me see that. Don't just tell me I love you, that's it. So with games, it goes even deeper. It goes do, don't tell. So it's not about just watching what's happening. Have the player do it. That's the way they're gonna retain it for longer. Now, this is tricky, of course. It's really hard, but a lot of times we just get lazy and we're like, oh, just put some text or just show a picture or something. See if you can find a way to let the player do it, be part of it. The second thing is ration the information. We have a lot of information, especially in subjects and in games as well. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of mechanics, there's a lot of story to tell. Don't be in a rush, because the whole point is this is going to be a journey and you need to dosify things. You have to give a little bit and then give a little bit more and give a little bit more. If you give a lot in the beginning, the player is just going to feel overwhelmed and he's not going to know where to start. And same with the student. If you give them too much information at the beginning, they're going to feel like they're stupid and they have no idea. They're like, this is not for me. So make sure you don't be in a rush, because it's also a way to always have some surprise, some elements of surprise that you're like, oh, this is new, oh, this is new. So don't be in a hurry to show the whole information. And the third thing is pre-existing skills. So a lot of times we try to reinvent the wheel when we don't really need to. So if, for example, you're using some kind of currency in your game, don't make it squirrels, because then you have to explain where squirrels come from and what is half a squirrel, is it as valuable as a full squirrel? So no, just use a coin. Everybody knows what a coin is. Everybody knows that you can trade with coins. If you have a life meter, just use hearts. Everybody knows what hearts are. So there's a lot of things that are already there. If you find some spot in your game or your gamification experience where you're having trouble to express what this mechanic does or what this item does, well, maybe it already exists. Maybe people are used to this already. The example I will use for this is Portal. Anybody play Portal? Oh, more Portal than Fallout, wow. So Portal, what is known for is actually the fact that it's considered more of just not a game, but actually just a very long tutorial. Like from beginning to end, it's just a tutorial. And that's why, if you haven't played Portal, you really, really have to. So do, don't tell. This is the level 1 of Portal. As you can see, they explain nothing at all. There's nothing. Those symbols don't even mean anything yet. So it's all by what the environment looks like. You just do things and you play around, you touch things, you're like, oh, this is how this works. Okay, that's how that works. It's not about somebody talking to you. Most of the text is just like the story. It doesn't really tell you what you need to do. It's just to add flavor. So you do a very good job with that. The second thing is rationing the information. Well, the whole point in game design, this we basically call level design. So you just, in the first level, you learn how to run. In the second level, you learn how to jump. In the third one, you learn how to jump, to shoot. Whoa, 5 minutes already. So, for example, in the beginning of this game, you don't even have a portal gun. In fact, when you get your first portal gun, you can only do one portal. You can't do two. So they really, really take their time with showing you the information. They're not in a hurry for that. And the third thing is pre-existing skills. So what is this? This is a button, so I have to press it. I mean, I don't have to reinvent anything. That's an X. X means it doesn't work. And then when there's a tick, it works. It's very, very simple things. The walls are very plain, so they don't distract you. You know when the thing over there, you know it's a door. So they're not reinventing anything. You're using tools that players are already accustomed to. And the third thing is explore. So yeah, I'm going to skip this quote because it's not that interesting. So the three major exploring tools now, what you want is, of course, you want the players or the students to figure out things themselves. So they feel more accomplished, they feel more like empowered by them discovering the information. So the first thing is questions, not answers. Now, anybody watch Lost here? Lost? Now, the success of Lost was because it had 100 questions and 0 answers. And it was really successful because of that. And this is true. It really works. Questions are more interesting than answers. So questions create intrigue, they create interest, they create mystery. And also when you figure out the answer, it feels more rewarding than just, here's the answer. 2 plus 2 is 4, that's it. Whereas 2 plus 2 is what? And then the student feels clever because they're saying it's 4. So make sure that you use more questions than answers. The second thing is mini goals and rewards. So I mentioned before you need a very big, long goal. But of course you need little goals in between to keep the player playing, the same as the student. Because otherwise it's going to feel like, oh, that's really far away. Like, for example, in Fallout, I'm never going to see my dad. It's going to take forever. So you need little rewards, little mini goals that you feel like you're making some progress, that you're climbing the stairs to the top. And the third thing is hidden path. So a lot of times when we build an open world game, we think, oh, it's an open world. No, not really. I mean, you were talking about this the other day. You must have a clear path. You must have a clear intention, even if you camouflage it with a lot of distractions and decorations that make it feel like it's an open world. And the example for this, I will use Minecraft. Now, can anybody tell me something interesting about the tutorial in Minecraft? It's that it doesn't exist. So Minecraft doesn't have a tutorial, and it's weird how it works because most people would say it doesn't have a tutorial. But it does a really interesting way because it's a very organic tutorial, sort of. It's a really, really invisible tutorial. So the first thing is questions, not answers. There's a lot of questions in Minecraft because you have this, and you're like, where the hell am I supposed to go? What am I going to do? But because of this, you have a new landscape. You're going to explore. You're going to go around. You're going to play around, touch things. Oh, this doesn't work. And this amount of questions created a great community on the internet, and that's what what kept Minecraft alive, is its great community, that everybody's sharing, oh, if you do this, this happens. If you do that, this happens. And it really built a huge community around that. Mini goals and rewards. Well, really, you build your own mini goals, but it's usually, well, I need to make a shelter. So how do I do this? I get some mud and I build my first shelter. That's a reward. I need to build a chest. What do I need to build a chest? I get these things and boom, I build a chest. So there are very little rewards constantly. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm going to make a mansion and it's going to take me 5 days. It's very little things that you constantly achieve. And the third thing is a hidden path. So again, Minecraft seems like it's this open world, and it is. But there are things that you're just going to do. If you see a pig, you're like, I'm either going to kill this or eat it or something. I mean, there's not a lot of choices. The designer put the pig there for a reason. You're probably going to eat it. That's the whole point. And Minecraft, for example, has things that other games would not. I mean, you can't steal a car like in GTA, for example. You can't rob a bank, because that doesn't happen in Minecraft. Minecraft has different objectives. So basically, the best way to make a tutorial is don't make one. I'm sorry I wasted your time with this presentation, but you really don't have to make a tutorial. And same with a class, don't make one. It shouldn't feel like you're going through a class, and it shouldn't feel like you're going through a tutorial. It should feel very natural. It should feel like the class has ended, I learned a bunch of stuff, and I don't even know how I got here. Same happens with tutorials. The invisible tutorials are the best ones. So that's a summary. Thank you very much. Any questions?